Welcome back to the Halftime Report. We are taking your questions as always. First up, Kyle in Atlanta asks about Disney. How do you feel about it going into earnings? Pete, this is you. You used to own it.
Yep, still do.
Okay.
I own the stock itself, and I'm holding on to it into earnings. And, you know, I think the whole thing with the sports gambling and obviously winning eventually without having to go back and forth too many different times, but some of those Fox assets, I think because of that, this is a really interesting play going forward. And as time goes by, obviously some of that BAM tech, that's going to be something that's really going to, you know, I think be very, very well. And I think they'll address that when they get into the earnings.
All right. Alfredo tweets, Nvidia has been consolidating since last January. Will it move higher in the remaining part of the year? Josh Brown.
So I don't know the answer to that, but I do think that there is a critical launch happening in the third quarter. I think a lot of people will be focused on that. I think they also want to know about just general trends in GPUs. And, you know, the company's been very forthright about guidance. They've never been overly aggressive. So hopefully they strike the right balance and shareholders hear what they want to hear. But that will determine whether or not this has a shot to break out into a new leg higher or if it keeps consolidating.
All right. Jeff in Philadelphia. Celgene seems to be recovering. How long do you hold it, John?
Well, they've been buying back their own stock, so we like to refer to that as a share shrinker. This is one you've had to be patient with, though, because they've got 3 drugs that could be billion-dollar drugs, but it might take up to 2 years before those drugs hit the market. So patience is being rewarded here. Finally, it's up off those multi-year lows, and I would hold it or add to a position here.
Right. Our friend Patty in Montana asked if there are any miners worth holding for a turn in commodity prices. Pete.
You know, it depends on if you think this turn is going to be something very real, then absolutely. I think there are some miners out there, but I think there are better ways to play the market than going into some of these miners. You don't usually get as much out of the miners as you would actually getting into the commodities themselves.
One thing interesting about that, Vanguard had a mining fund, and they just changed the name to something about cycles. They pulled the word mining out. That's how out of favor this sector is. And you could say they don't ring a bell at the bottom. Maybe that's the bell.